Thank you. Andy Hutton.
Hi, as you say, Andy Hutton from Atos, based in the UK.
Welcome, Andy. Anen.
Hi, hello, this is Anan. I'm from Huawei, China.
Bernard Brabant. I don't know if you can speak. Then Bernard Elias. I see that there are some people with some audio problems. Björn, can you hear us? There. Okay. Björn, can you present yourself?
Yeah, sure. Hi, Cristina. Hi, all. This is Björn Skoglund from SV Salam Sweden, the PSAP organization.
Thank you, Björn. What's when?
Hello, I'm Boštjan Rupnik from IPCOM, Slovenia. We are vendor of CAD system and integrator for Slovenian PSAP authorities.
Thank you, Emmanuel. Essa Fredriksson. Well, there's a lot of people who cannot speak. Francisco Nobre.
Hola, Cristina. Hi, everyone. Francisco Nobre. I work for ESRI in Europe. I'm the Public Safety Business Development Executive. Thank you.
Thank you, Georgiana. Gregor. If you can present yourself. Let's move to Irache.
Hi, hopefully you can hear me. This is Irache Gomez from Atos, also Vice Chair of the EENA Operations and Technical.
Thank you. Ismail?
Hello, everybody. This is Ismail Mbedi. I'm working for Frequentis Software, British supplier of location.
Welcome. Joao? Jorian? Jorian Boss?
Yeah, hello everyone. This is Tasos Talampekos, Anastasios from Atos, Athens, Greece. We work in a system test area related to emergency service. Thank you.
Thank you. Luca?
Hello everyone, Luca Bergonzi from Beta 80 and the co-chair of the operations committee.
Hello, Maria? Okay. I see there's many people who are Paresh.
Yeah, I'm here. There's a problem with my microphone, but don't worry.
Okay. Pedro? Gaibao? Per Gunnar Andersson?
Hello, I'm Per Gunnar Andersson at Ericsson.
Piero? Brambilla? Hello, Piero. Primos? Ralph Schiefeld?
Ralph Schäfeld, based in Germany in Nokia Enterprise Services.
Okay, welcome. Rob Dignum? Robert?
Hi, it's Robert from Datus in Germany. I'm responsible for business development in our company.
Okay, thank you. Roberto Valtorta?
Hi, this is Roberto, working in Avaya, Italy, managing some deal related to 112.
Okay, thank you. Silvia Marchesi?
Hi, I'm Silvia from 112 PISAP in Trento, Italy.
Thank you. Steve?
Yep, Steve Watson from Kampichler in Sweden, a public safety vendor.
Tadas?
Hello, all. Tadas from 112 PISAP and Fire Dispatch, Lithuania.
Thank you, Tadas. Thanasis?
Hi, working for the 911 solution.
Thank you. Thomas?
Thomas Nader, Atos Public Safety and Solution Architecture.
Welcome. Tony?
Hi everybody, I'm Tony. I work with Francisco for Esri as a solution engineer in the public safety team.
Thank you. Johan? Van der Broek? Hello, Johan. We cannot hear you. Okay.
Working for an operator in Belgium, in fact. Still is.
Okay, now I hear you. Vasilis?
Hello, my name is Vasilis Kazoukas. I'm a professional firefighter in Greece and member of the new 112 we're developing in Greece.
Thank you, welcome. Vitor?
Hi, I'm Vitor from Portugal, from I'm here with the two partners of
Seven guys.
The 112 in Portugal. Thank you.
Okay, thank
Seven.
you. Wolfgang?
Hello, this is Wolfgang. I'm with Frequentis, and I'm also co-chair of the EENA DevOps committee.
Thank you, Wolfgang. And Jana? Hello? We cannot hear you. Okay, so don't worry. I see that a lot of people have some problems with the microphone. So don't worry. You can also use the chat in case you want to make some questions. I will also take a look to the chat, and let's start. So as said, this webinar is to speak about the NG112 project. We will do three of us. We will be speakers. So I think all of you know me, but just in case there's somebody new, I'm Cristina Lumbreras. I'm the technical director of EENA, and I have. Yes. I hear somebody speaking. Okay, it's and then I have also with me Wolfgang Kampichler and Luca Bergonzi, who are co-chairs of the technical and operations committee of EENA and supporting also this project. So we have prepared some slides in case you were at the EENA conference and saw the presentation we did. There will be some information that you already have. So here the main goal is really to go as quick as possible through the slides, but it's also good to have all the information and give you the floor to ask questions about how to apply to the project or what is or other questions that you may have. Okay, so let's start. If I can change the slide. Okay. So, Luca, if you want to make the presentation of these of the following slides.
Hello, everyone. Thank you, Cristina. Maybe just one suggestion before we begin. In order to avoid background noises, can you please put mute on your microphones so that only the speakers have access to the microphone? Thank you. The slides you will see today are inspired from the latest events concerning NG112, specifically the EENA conference in Dubrovnik and the past ETSI plug test that happened through the, let me say, last 3 years. Here in the first slide, we would like to present roughly what is the technology we are talking about, what we intend for next generation 112. The slides are animated, so I will ask Cristina to just go until the end of the animation so we don't waste time by looking at the animation. If you can go to the next one, please, Cristina. Okay, so what you see on the screen is like the previous slide said, the current situation with emergency calls. We wanted to describe who are the actors, starting from left, the citizens calling emergency services using either fixed or mobile phones. Carriers, network operators are transiting this call from the citizen to the network, either by their own network nodes or GSM base stations. When they get into the final network, they are routed by means of position, either subscriber identity from the fixed line phones or position of the, let me say, the base station network until the appropriate PSAP on the other side of 112. This is more or less what's happening in every country. There might be slight differences, but the principles are this. What's going on today? Well, the situation is that this architecture here might be changing in the very near future. Today, we are used to allow network operators to basically decide the routing for emergency services. When new technologies will be introduced, specifically voice over IP calls, this logic may change. And next generation 112 is exactly talking about how this is going to change. Cristina, can you go on the next slide? So we take a look at the development, so the call management tomorrow. This is the architecture of the next generation 112 technology. So on the left, we still have citizens, which are supposed to place emergency calls on SIP protocol, which may be a native SIP device in their hands, not necessarily phones anymore, but even from a laptop, for example. They will be able to call, you see the handset icon, they will be able to place chat messages directly without calling, video, and still be located by the original means that we used to know by default. However, this may go into a different type of architecture. We call it EZNet. Well, not we as EENA. I mean, this is the name of the architecture, right? The EZNet architecture is a software-based platform, if you want, dedicated to the routing of next-generation emergency calls. By itself, the schema is very simple, as you see. There is a green line, green arrow describing the call, going into a gateway, into an emergency service routing proxy, ESRP, that decides, based on what he sees in the SIP protocol, which is the originating party and where is its location. So this is the main difference. SIP will be able to embed position during an emergency call without recurring to external sources of data like GSM, base station position, or subscriber ID. The SRP, like the name says, emergency service routing proxy, needs to route the call to the proper agency on the right. How does he do that? Well, he needs to know the destination. The destination is, let me say, handled by a component called ECRF, Emergency Call Routing Function, which has the duty of matching source position and destination position according to rules set in the architecture. Once this is done, the ESRP will know how to modify the SIP call into specifically the correct 112. So imagine the citizen will still be dialing or typing 112 as his peer, destination, but the ESRP will be deciding which is the best 112 PSAP on the other side to be addressed to. You also see a dotted line. So the dotted line is actually used in a situation where the SIP call was not able to provide natively a position. Old-fashioned or traditional position methods will be still used in the new architecture, and the data will be transferred to an element which in the architecture is called LIS, LIS, or Location Identification Service. So this device will be, instead of telling the destination, will tell you the original position of the caller, so that the ESRP, in case it's missing both source and destination, he knows that the list will have the source of the position. The ECRF will have the destination. By matching the two, he will be able to forward the call to the proper 112, which is represented again by the green arrow. This is a very, very short and basic description of the architecture. There is more in the background, but in general, let me say, if you look at it, you see automatically the changes and the transition between the old-fashioned way and the new one. We didn't include other slides, but now we will probably try to describe also who is in charge of the ESINET and our, ideas on how to deploy this kind of infrastructure. Wolfgang, I leave the floor to you.
Okay, thanks, Luca. Yeah, actually, Luca has described everything very well. So perhaps I'll talk a little bit about the specific interfaces of these elements that are currently being standardized at ETSI. So from left to right, as Luca mentioned, so we have the carrier, we have the access network or the originating part, and in, let's say, one scenario, this could be a voice over IP client connecting via LTE or 4G infrastructure, or just an application or something like this that has capabilities to send a web call or to originate a web call. With that, we get a specific protocol, the session initiation protocol, as already mentioned by Luca, which gets forwarded to a gateway, a border control function, and the border control function then forwards this to the emergency service routing proxy. And still here we have the session initiation protocol in place, but it's, let's say, a bit enhanced with further information like the location. So if it already comes with the call signaling, it might be also signaling media information or session description protocol information. So there could be a video call, for instance, or an audio call, or a text call, or just everything put together, named as total conversation. This depends on what capabilities the originating device already has. But all this is somehow standardized or described in specific documents. So if you get the signaling to the ESRB just takes out the information that it can use to query an ECRF. So there the interface is simply HTTP based. We just send, let's say, the information about the requested service. So it's called service URN to the ESRF together with the location. So that's actually the input to the ECRF, and the output of the ECRF would be the next hop. So the target, which in a simple architecture or simple hierarchy would be the PSUB. So the ESRB is actually the entity that knows where the router called to based on service boundaries that have been defined. So for instance, if you look at Germany or Austria with federal states, so simple service boundaries would be the boundaries of the federal states, because in Austria and Germany, federal states are responsible for emergency services. I think the same applies to Italy, for example. It's a bit different in the UK because everything gets routed to stage 1 PSUB, so there this kind of mapping is not that complicated. But in other countries, depending on the models, it could be more may have to be more sophisticated. So with the information we get back from the ECRF, the ESRB then just forwards the SIP signaling to the PSUB, and then there's exchange of multimedia data. So just to highlight what's being part of the Next Generation 112 project. So for sure there will be a PSUB with these capabilities to terminate multimedia calls, for instance, or to get location information, to display location information, but whatever system is being used, if it's the call processing equipment or the CAT equipment within the PSUB. But we get location information with the call. The other thing is the multimedia. So we may have just audio. We have also capabilities of having a video call if it's necessary, for instance, to operate sign language via the video, or to just text. So there could be any combination of that. And the other elements in between are more or less used to support the routing depending on what kind of PSUB model is in place. One could extend this in a project with cross-border situations, for instance. So if call originates in cross-border, that should using, let's say, a device that is located or that is somehow known in the other country, then there might be some specific routing entities that are also described in the standards. What else is important? The mapping I've mentioned in the ECRF is not bound to a single emergency response organization. So if you have a situation like in Austria, Germany, where you have the fire brigades, the police, and the ambulance, sometimes having their own PSUBs, that might be necessary. It might be necessary to route depending on the request from the calling party. So if someone needs the ambulance, it has to go to the emergency service center that supports the ambulance or that coordinates the ambulance services, for instance. So it's not just location that may have an impact on the routing, it's also that the need that has impact on the routing, but this is also covered. Because Luca mentioned who is actually running such a service. So I think there are different scenarios. One could be that, let's say, like it's today, that a network operator says, okay, I'm going to host such services and then provide this service to PSUBs, so to different agencies. Or the other model could be that, okay, there's one agency which is responsible for the services and hosts the services and provides this perhaps to other agencies. So it could be then somehow independent of the access part. Actually, both scenarios are independent of the access part. It's just who does all the technical stuff and runs the services. I think for this project, it could be somehow quite simple deployed. So there could be one single ESRP that can be sufficient for the scenarios, and one ECRF just have to interwork, and someone needs to define the mappings for the PSUBs. If there are some PSUBs in place, or if it's just one PSUB, then it should also work, and but does not require that sophisticated mapping and routing kind of thing. Next slide, please, because here the important information regarding the standardization. So we mentioned that already at the last conference. So there's quite nice cooperation with ETSI. So we have one working group or special committee within ETSI. It's the MTEL special committee that deals with specifications or technical standards or documents that deal with emergency services. And there is one, it's TS 103479, which describes the core elements that Luca and I have just introduced, and the interfaces. So that's actually the technical document focusing on the functionality of each of these core elements and the capabilities of the interfaces and how they interwork. Everything is based on the long-term definition document, which provides additional information how to better understand the complete picture. And the good thing here is that the long-term definition document is publicly available, so you just may have a look at the EENA portal website, and you can find the document there to get more information regarding how everything's put together. And I believe the aim of the MTEL group is to have a final draft ready by end of June. So perhaps this document is also available when the project starts. There are other documents that are currently under construction, let's say that. So it's the interoperability testing of core elements. So here we have a lot of material starting 2016 with the first plug test that we now put together in a single document, just describing, okay, how could I test such infrastructure, such elements, what configurations are required to do some testing, and this will also be available later this year. The last one is the conformance test specification. I think that's very important for the industry. So here we have a description of how to run conformance testing. So interoperability testing means, okay, there's two different vendors just connecting their functional elements together, and then just trying out how end-to-end calls work. So we did that 3 times already, with I think every time very good results. And now earlier this year, we started with the conformance test specification. This is a kind of different testing. So for that, it's not important that 2 different vendors connect their equipment together. Here it's important that one vendor tests against the conformance test tool, which just runs specific requests and then just checks if the responses are correct. So just to make sure, okay, all the mandatory features that are described in the technical specification are well understood and then correctly implemented. I think that's it from my side, and just hand over to Cristina.
Thank you, Wolfgang. Thank you, Luca. So I will speak about the project itself. We had an overview already about the technology behind NG112 and the standards. So the reality is that in Europe there's only a few initiatives that are starting to implement NG112. There are more initiatives in North America, in Canada, and in the US. So here with this project, what we really want is to move forward and somehow try to help and the launching of NG112 in Europe. So this project was announced at the EENA conference in Dubrovnik in April. And what we would like is really to test some use cases in the countries with the emergency services involved. And just we have already heard about the technology, but these are some of the examples of the use cases that can be implemented with NG112. So it's first full IP emergency communications, that it can be voice, video, text, and what we call total conversation, that is the combination of the three voice, video, and real-time text from different type of devices. This could be one or many use cases. We would like also to test as example some routing, advanced call routing, that it's something that it's a feature that can be improved through NG112, and use other additional criteria to route the call to the right PSAP. Also, there would be there's the possibility of sending more data than the one that are receiving right now the PSAPs, that it's in the best cases the location. So this is something that could be also be tested. And also as another idea, reverse 112. So that means alerts sent from a PSAP or from a public authority to different media. These are only examples. So we have also some thoughts about NG eCall, for example, or other initiatives that can be very interesting. So please don't take these 4 examples as the only ones. We are really open to other use cases and ideas. So if you want to participate, the goal here is to have consortia. So that means different groups of organizations that are already together presenting a proposal. In these proposals, we would like to have at least one emergency service or public authority involved. And of course, to test the full chain of NG112, you will need different types of organizations that cooperate with you. So this is it can be 1 per country or 2 per country, or or one with many countries. So this is not something that you can propose different types of consortia. And also we want to launch this in Europe as a priority, but we are of course open to other parts of the world wanting to participate. So if you are interested in participating, it's very simple. So you don't have to make any form or something. Although we don't have any template, official template. So the best it's to keep it as simple as possible. So I invite you to send me an email to my email address that it's here. With the name and the brief description of the organizations composing the consortium, and also the use cases or the use case, that it can be only one that you would like to test. And also a brief description of the role of each organization, and also what are the components, or how is the technical solution that you would like to test. And of course, it's that it's based on standardized technology on the long-term definition document. So as you see, we have tried really to do it as easier as possible. Send me an email, and in case I see that there are information missing, I just will come back to you as soon as possible. From a timeline perspective, you can send your application by June the 15th, so there are still some weeks. We would like to start the test by end of June and end in March 2020, so that we can announce the results during the next conference that will take place in Riga in April 2020.
Cristina, can I add something before we proceed?
Yes, of course, Luca.
Thank you. I just wanted to tell everyone, maybe we can discuss internally with EENA to extend for some days the deadline, because we know it's not easy for public authorities to set up these kind of things. We know there are sometimes tendering procedures, selection of partners, and so we know it's not easy. Of course, what we are saying is that by June 15, you should not come with everything ready. Oh, I ran the tender, I already assigned it, and so on. Just an idea of forming a consortium, an idea of project which will be anyway run in 1 year time, almost 1 year, between June and March next year. It's enough. You now need simply to understand your interest in the project and a little bit of calculating if you fit in the time schedule. I think an official position in that way is enough for considering an application. We understand the problematics of legislation and public authorities. You cannot simply by magic create a consortium out of nothing. So, Cristina, I don't know if you agree or would like to change a little bit the situation, but we should be slightly flexible on this, considering past experiences.
Well, of course, we can be flexible to give some more days. If you are interested, but you are in the position that you need more time, I will also ask you to send me an email saying what is the situation. And of course, if you need some more days, we will consider it and be flexible. So if you are interested, as said, send your proposals, your ideas. It has not to be 100% finalized, and we can consider to giving you more days to prepare everything. Okay, so then I have already received many questions about different things, as we already launched the project in April. So I have put here some information. So what will be the role of EENA? So already we have launched the project, and we will help to create the consortia when possible and needed, because I know that there are already organizations that they are building their consortium without any need. We will receive all the applications and select the participants. There will be a follow-up of the project with, I think we will have a conference call each 2 weeks, at least at the beginning of the project, and it be less during when it's more advanced. If you need technical support, we will be there also to answer questions or put you in contact with the right people. And we will communicate on social media and through all the network that we have about the participants and also the results at the conference. These are the main things that EENA will do. Then I also already comment this, but just to make sure that the priority are EU countries, but we are really open to other initiatives all around the world. So don't hesitate to send your candidature to if you are outside the EU. And here there's no funding itself. Unfortunately, we don't have money to fund the project. So it will be a cooperation between private and public authorities for this. And then I think now it's really your turn. I don't know, Luca or Wolfgang, if you want to add something more, or if you have already received some questions that you want already to share.
No questions, and for me it's fine. I would open the floor to the people who joined the call.
Yeah, I agree. I haven't received something so far, and I think we should use the time for everyone else to ask questions.
Okay, so let's please ask all the questions that you have. In case you cannot speak, you can write it on the chat, and we will read them.
Hello, may I speak?
Yes, of course.
I'm Katerina Sinescu from Teamnet. We are a Romanian company developing our own services for PSAP centers, 112 solutions for emergency calls, managing the calls and e-calls also. We were partners in larger consortia like the Hero projects, Hero 1, 2, and iHero, and also the Nexus projects, all addressed of developing standards for 112 operation centers, e-call standards, and next generation technologies. Will this project be building upon that experience? I'm sorry, I was not at the first beginning of the meeting. Or is the testing intended to just test what your project is offering as technologies? Can we come up with our own technologies, because different emergency call centers throughout Europe use proprietary software from different product providers?
I think this is Luca. I think there is a slide that answers your question, Katrina. Maybe Cristina can go back a few slides just when she speaks about the purpose of the project. But roughly, we are going to work on the next generation 112 platform described in the EENA long-term definition document, which will be subject of standardization by ETSI in the near future.
Mm-hmm. Okay, and the consortia should come up with ideas regarding what? Just test sites, like, for example, testing it in Romania or in Cyprus?
Exactly.
Yes, and you have to involve also the test sites. So it's not only ideas, but to have them inside the consortium.
The public authorities managing the calls.
Yes. In your case, let's say that you mentioned Romania and Cyprus, you should involve one or both of them as main supporter of your project.
Mm-hmm. And we will be testing, trying to connect the existing software and solution there to the concept of the platform, or we will just try to apply a new software?
I would say that's up to you. The most important thing is that you respect the architecture proposed in the EENA long-term definition document. Okay. Everything else, which is more than that, is of course welcome, but it's let's say extra.
Okay. Will we be getting these slides by email or some other way?
Yes, yes, I will send it, or one of my colleagues will send it.
Okay, thank you very much.
We have here a question on the chat. How many projects do you plan to select, and what is the selection criteria? You mentioned that no funding is available as such. How long do you participate? The project how do you anticipate the project to run? So here the how many projects do you plan to select? It's very open and the scope is open. So I don't know exactly how many, because if we receive some proposals that are very small consortia with only one use case, we may select more than if we have almost only a big consortia with a lot of use cases. So I think we will not be more for sure than 10. This would be really a maximum, but I cannot say how many. It will depend on the number and the scope of the proposals. And there's no funding available, so there's no funding on our side. As said, the idea is that private organizations and public organizations work together, and the funds are made by themselves. So the idea is here to have a test environments that that should not really have a big amount of fundings needed. Any other question?
So it's and here one of Phil's questions there was about the criteria, which I'm not sure whether you answered or not. So I think we needs to be clear.
Yes, so the criteria, it's first that are based on the standards. This is something that we will, it's one of the most important criteria. The other is that the use cases, we will want to have not only one use case tested in all the pilots. So we would try to choose different use cases to be tested, and also we will try to have as many countries as possible.
Thanks, Andrew. Cristina, this is Phil. Sorry I couldn't speak before. It's early in the morning for me and I had some background noise. So given that no funding is available, do you anticipate the projects, individual projects, working with an entity to make this so that it's sustainable and not just for lack of a better word, just a larger external plugfest type environment? Or is that all you envision it being?
We envisioned first to have tests, and so the idea is also to bring the plug test out of the laboratory and go and work together with the PSAPs and do the tests. And then in the future, it may be it's like a first step for implementation.
So briefly, the answer is yes.
Yes.
In our mind, the idea would be that a public safety answering point or organization decides to demonstrate the capabilities of NG112 platform to his own, managers, infrastructure, ministries, country, depending on who is the subject. Okay? Performing a pilot scenario, a pilot environment, where they can say at the end, you see, this is working and this is what is going to happen in the near future to public safety communications. The best option would be that the public authority takes charge of running the pilot. If there is a private company willing to invest, or a group of private companies willing to invest with the public authority, which is free of charge, running the test for them, that's also another scenario. But in general, the thing is, there are costs, of course, connected to running such an activity, and the costs need to be managed by the consortium somehow.
Okay, I appreciate that response. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Any other questions?
Hi, Cristina, Wolfgang, and Luca. And this is EENA. And I see that in your PowerPoint that the priority to the European country, I understand. And if possible, if we can join, but right now I don't have the partners yet. So maybe I need your help to, if you can see if we have opportunity to join.
Yes, so we will do our best to help building consortia. So if you don't find partners, just let me know, and I will try to help you. But just I don't have 100% of. I'm not 100% sure to find partners for all organizations.
Okay, I understand. Thank you.
We have time for more questions if you have any. I only see.
Okay for me now. Thank
you. I don't see any other questions in the chat. So also, if afterwards you think about any other question that you want to ask, please just send me or Luca or Wolfgang an email, and we will answer in the best delays. Okay, so thank you very much for joining this webinar. I hope everything is clear, and I also hope to receive your applications and your questions if you have any. Thank you very much. Goodbye.
Goodbye. Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Goodbye.
Thank you. Goodbye, everyone.
Bye. Bye.
Thank you. Goodbye. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.